It looks like the audio and the video are working now. So we were off on the gap up. Um, we did see this rally here, which you could technically did offer opportunity to open up a short position and close that short position in a low right around here. Although I would have expected to see more of a move. In any case, at that low, you could have opened up a long position, or midday you could have opened up the long position. Either way, to close a long position at the end of the day. If you opened up the long position early, you'd be able to close it at the Ace of Swords. If you opened it up here, you could close it here at the end of the day with a bit of a pop and drop. Just be careful because it's a failed attempt to break through key resistance and then a decline through falsely established support. It kind of looks like that's probably this price level here. Yeah, I think there's, to answer your question to Brace from the last chat, I think there's a pretty good chance that we do hit a highest high based on the way things transpired. So I was off a day on the prominent trough. That took place here on the 27th. I have it for the 28th, and that'll happen occasionally because of the correspondences. Um, Nullified. Not. It's hard to say which way we're gonna open. There's that peace card. Where did I just see the peace? I thought I just saw the peace card somewhere. I guess not. 25th. I think this is probably a really big move here at the end of day. That was kind of hiding there. Okay, so we have a high. Looks like midday that we sell off to a low, and then we come back and we have a failed attempt to break through that, and then we break through it and we push the upper end of a range higher to a new high here around 2 o'clock. And we should sell off pretty notably from that high based on um, the satiety card and then the tower card in the high correlation position. As far as the open, it's a little difficult. It's a little difficult. It's a tricky day. How long will China stocks rally? When will the rally in Chinese stocks end? Devil card. Not for a while. Looks like December, January, sort of towards the end of the year. And even if I'm off on that date, thematically speaking, it's still not for a while. Hey, Miradula. So you still would have taken a profit even though we were off on this move to the upside. If you got it at the beginning of the day on that short position and decided to hold it overnight, which, like I said, it's risky. Always better to take profits while you have a good profit. You don't want to miss out on too much profit, but you have to keep in mind that the longer you keep it in there, the more risky it becomes. Life happens. So in any case, it went the wrong way. But even with that said, selling in around the same time that we had discussed yesterday, because the rest of the chart is pretty, except for maybe the pre-market high there. Other than that, this is a pretty solid reading. So in any case, if you sold here, which is where we planned to sell, or even if you sold at the top, you still would have made money. Not a lot, but you still would have made money. In any case, we planned to sell at the second low, which is a little bit later in the day. It ended up being about 1:30 rather than between 12 and 1. We were about a half hour off there. Um, do I think we could hit 432, 436 SPY in August? 432 to 436. So my sense is we probably have that highest high there on the 31st. Right here. This is looking like a high, and there's a pretty notable drop off of it. Probably. But then early in the morning here on the 1st of... Is that the 1st of August? That's the 1st of August. There's a breakout to probably... There might be a high here. I mean, there's going to be a prominent crest or peak, but there might be a high here. We have a cross-reading correlation here for high on the 1 day for August. And then another high here towards the second week, and after that we decline. So I don't know how much of a decline we're looking at here in the first. Well, let's look at the 1 year and get a better idea. I don't. Hard to say if it's in August. I think it's probably. I don't. We might. It depends on how far we go. So let's see. Do we hit 436 on SPY in August 2023? Yes or no? I gotta know. The futility card. Oh, my phone battery is gonna die. Yay. Appreciate the confirmation on that QS AV. Hey AU. Do I still see the crest for Bitcoin at the end of the day today? Let's take a look. Bitcoin. Jeez, still going, man. Not my best reading by even a little bit. I've got the day by day chart behavior, but the overall trend and where the highs and the lows are not so hot. But we are doing this sideways rotation. We drop through a support to meet a second support, and then we rotate sideways. I think we're going to see a pretty notable move. It may not be at the end of the day today. It might end up being on the 31st, but it's coming soon. It's off of this sideways rotation. You've got the yellow, which is a correlation to the success card, successfully turning resistance into new support. And then you've got on the 31st, you've got the victory card, which is usually a breakout. It also is combined with the correlation for an opportunity in the midst of a rally to open up a short position there. We'll see SEELC $2 in August. I was looking at the wrong dates, silly me. Unbelievable. So, well, out of a decline, there should be a pretty big move higher. And then the following day, we have a correlation to orange, which is a rally higher, offering opportunity to open up a short position before there's a decline from a peak or crest down to and through support, and then a U-shaped reversal to come back and reuse it as support. We drop some more here. To and through support, and then rotate sideways there, and then there's a big move. There's a big move, breakout kind of move here. Overall, I think we probably go higher here, like into the end of the month. But August, the ruin card doesn't bode well. Well, SEELC $2. Sorry, forgot about that one. Will SEEL be $2? Will it reach $2 per share in August 2023? Yes or no? I gotta know. Prominent peak right at the start of the month. On the 11th, 12th, we were off a day or two, looks like 2 days. Cusp of the 11th, 12th. But there was that high for the month there mid-month. And then on the 18th, 19th, we had another peak or crest. Didn't end up being a highest high. Neither did these troughs, but then in the following week you end up seeing a low on the 25th, 26th, and we had it for the 26th. So that's pretty solid. We also had a low on the 6th, forgot about that, and we were on point with that. So we had a low at the beginning of the month, we had a low at the end of the month, and we had 2 peaks in mid-month, one of them being a highest high. Pretty solid, guys. The SPCE reading, if you're wondering, the July reading was created on May 4th, 2023 at 3:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Date created. We're going to get into August now. And this is the second half of the years where we see SPC start to go really bullish. Oops. So we'd have a prominent peak or crest for the year in June, and we had that in June. That doesn't end up being a highest high, so to be clear, we go higher than 608. I'm almost certain of that. You can never be certain, but it's pretty strong possibility that we go above 608 because the highest highs are here at the end of the year. I got the peak, a really important peak here in April. Well, April, May, I should say, but I was off on it being a highest high. So August, we see an important peak here. We likely go higher in August than we were in July. Pretty bullish until the end of the month. Maybe after the high here. And the trough that we revisit So in August, where did it go? It's crossed with the revisiting of a support level, the Hermit card, revisiting of a support level that we recently met once before. In all likelihood, it's probably the same lows one more time. But you can see we got highs here. There's lowest low in October, and there's also highs here at the end of the year. There's like a really big move in October, from like the top, from either from a high to a low or a low to high. It's kind of hard to determine which way it's going to go there. I think it's probably a low to a high. All right. Will rents go up in New York City? Uh, Rent always goes up in New York City. When will there be a residential correction in real estate? That's a good one for a short. When will be a correction in residential real estate market? Prince of Swords. It's going to be between January and February. Let's see if it's this year. So that was the Prince of Swords, which is date wise in the calendar is January 10th through February 8th. Will the correction in the real estate market between January 10th and February 8th take place in 2004? Yes or no? I got a yes for that. And it'll also be a really good opportunity in the midst of a correction. And it was the Princess of Cups, which is a yes. Also an opportunity in the midst of a decline to open up a long position. Are we going to have big declines? $2004 instead of 2024. What? Oh, I said 2004 instead of not really. The intention was the same. We could do it one more time if you want. Maybe it will be different. Will will there be a residential real estate market correction in January 2024, between January 10th and February 8th, 2024? I gotta know. Okay, so let's do that over. When will be a correction in the residential real estate market? Ace of Wands. It's a big move higher, an opportunity to open up a short position. So probably out of a correction that happens, or right before the correction, there's a big move higher. Probably that, actually. Ace of Wands. Between June and September. Wow, that's a pretty broad. Well, it is an ace. That would make sense. So Ace of Wands, somewhere between June 21st and September 20th. It's a pretty big, broad stretch. But are we talking about 2023? Or are we talking about 2024? Yes or no? Yes, I got a yes for that. Let me double check. Maybe. Interesting. Is there a correction in the housing market, the real estate, the residential housing market in September 2023? Yes or no? I got a yes there. Actually, it's a mixed one, so let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it's a yes. It's a yes. The pleasure card. So it looks like September would be the start of a correction, most likely, for the real estate market. Hey, Carolyn. Overall, I think it's bullish. I'll take a look at it in just a sec. SPY on the 31st, and I don't think we're going to see a higher high in August. Well, actually, we might. Let me take a look at it. Hey, Yoga Army, welcome. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on Doge. Just go to our channel and type Dogecoin, or actually type in DOGE without the second D, DOGE, into the search bar in our channel, not at the top of YouTube, but the lower one that's in our channel, and it'll bring up a playlist with all of our Dogecoin readings. We actually do a subscription of Dogecoin by the month, which is pretty popular. All right, let's take a look here. Matter of factly, yeah, it is a higher. What am I saying? I think it is a higher. Well, if you have a breakout there. There might actually be a gap up to the high there. I would say there's a gap up to the high, and if we see a gap up on the 31st to a high, I would probably say that this is really indicating that the high was the day before the readings timeline started. That's how I'm reading this. And then here on the second, we have on the 1 day readings, we have a cross reading congruency with the high correlator here towards the end of the day, so that's pretty strong indication of a peak or crest there. We see it again here on the 9th. I think it's probably the same high. It's probably the same high, actually. So I think it's probably, the 31st is gonna end up being a high. We might very well gap up. Although it's on the daily, it looks like we're gapping down. So let me back up and look at that. Where did it go? Oh, but it's nullified. Interesting. And so this is that decline back down after a failed attempt to break through key resistance that we were expecting to break through. This should be followed by a pop and drop, which is the trade opportunity. Excuse me. Right around the close, a pop and drop. So we hit the influence of Mercury retrograde on August 3rd. That's when the pre-shadow influence begins, when we first enter the period of the sky that we're going to pass through, or it's when Mercury first enters the period of the sky, or the section of the sky that we're going to pass through 3 times during the Mercury retrograde period. And during those 3 times, it's going to kind of retrace the same type of behavior back and forth on a chart. First forward, and then in reverse, and then forward again. Hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean when it happens. I'll show you on a chart. In any case, this is where things start to get kind of volatile. And we go into a lowest low, probably, I think it's like on the cusp of October, September, October. I think it's possible we see a higher price level, but it's hard to determine. This August 2023's high higher than July 2023's high. It looks like it's the same high. Will Bitcoin hit a higher high in August, and will it top off in August like other indexes? Very unlikely. Well, let's open up the Bitcoin August, but the sneak preview in July was the ruin card, so there's at least one sharp decline in there. Let's take a look. Oh, actually, looking at it now, becomes very bullish. So the ruin card here is a cross-read incongruency, though. It's very unlikely to be a highest high here on the 31st, but I do feel like it's kind of mixed and to the upside over the next few days. We should see a move to the upside here at the end of the day, but most likely. And then it might top off there. It looks like it might top off there. I'm gonna open up the one year chart here. Push the upper end of a range higher in January. Prominent trough. I had as a possible lowest low, and it just ended up being a significant trough, but it offered a notable opportunity to open up a long position. Decline in early June, offering another opportunity to open up a long position, followed by decline into July. It does look like we top off there. We've got the unicursal there. This ruin indicates not to, in this case, indicates not to chase a rally. On point about the overall theme being a breakout. And then we'll likely have a really big move in 2024, which we'll get into. I don't know if I did the 2024 yet. I might have done the 2024 already. I recorded it. It's just not out yet. It's coming out very soon. Seems like tech stocks are topping off August 3rd. Safe. Why do you say August 3rd? I'm just curious. It's very likely that they do, because what happens when you enter into Mercury retrograde, which is what this yellow square is. This is the first period of it, the second period, and then the third and final period. And so when you enter into it, which is on the third, you tend to see a reversal. If the day that you enter into Mercury retrograde's influence lands on a trading day, you'll see a reversal in most cases. And then you get another one in a lot of cases here where the planet pauses in the sky on the 23rd, and another one on the 15th of September, another one on the 30th. Where is Hermes? Oh, he's sleeping. He's right here. It's really hot here, so he's kind of like, we went for a walk before this. He's chilling. Can QS squeeze to over 50? So to answer your question, Carolyn, with the tech stocks, there should be a notable reversal there on August 3rd. And I'd say it's a safe swing for a short, most likely if you can handle extreme volatility. And you definitely want to be out of the position. Well, you want to do your very best to be out of the position by the 23rd, but I would also give yourself extra, if you're doing options, this is Mercury retrograde, I would say give yourself as much extra time as you can on the expiration, past what you expect that you'll need, add some onto it. Because that's a very Mercury retrograde thing to happen, is to be right and then run out of time. So can QS squeeze to over $50? We should probably ask a different question than can, because it can, but will it? Will QS squeeze to, or does is better, does QS squeeze to over $50? Is there a time frame for that? In August? I got a yes. Big move. Those are big, big moves. Yeah, it pushes the upper end of a range higher, so there's plenty of ranges to push higher here on the way to $50, but it's a pretty good, that's a pretty strong yes indication. Should he work with developer Stever or Ed Houghton? Is his name Stever or Steven? Doesn't really matter. Yeah, okay, so Steve or Ed Houghton. Should Dr. Mercola work with Steve or Ed Houghton? Steve, Ed Houghton. They're both pretty good, but I think I'd probably go with Steve. But they both look good. They both seem to do pretty well. It looks like there may be some trouble early on with Ed Houghton, and then things come about well at the end. Will there be more government disclosure on UFOs in 2024? Yes. Let's see. I got a yes. All right, my friends. I'm going to just run through SPY real quick. And then I'm going to call it for the week. Here we go. So we had this failed attempt to break through resistance, and it looked like we were going to break through, followed by a decline through falsely established support, which we did break through falsely established support. And then we have this pop and drop right around the close, which is what's kind of taking place here. But off of that peak, just to be clear, off of that peak or high that we have here at the very end of the day, there's a decline. I think we probably open... It's so hard to say with the nullified car. I'm just going to say it's too difficult to determine. I wonder what did my original reading say? So there's a couple opportunities here where you could get into a short position at a high. I would probably wait until the end of the day when we push the upper end of a range higher. We'll have a failed attempt to break through resistance, a decline through support, and then we push through that resistance, pushing the upper end of a range higher to a high there, like an overbought crest or peak. That's where I would close out of a long position. If I'm in a long position, I would open up a short position there towards the end of the day here around 2 o'clock. Failed attempt to break through key resistance, and then a push through to push the upper end of a range higher. In the midst of a decline here, around 10 to 11, maybe a little sooner, maybe a decline off of like a peak at 10. It'll be after a fast sudden move higher. There'll be a decline, and that decline will take us to a low, and in the low you could open up a long position for a day trade, close it when we push the upper end of a range higher. But it's pretty tricky, and going on the long side's a little risky based on the Princess of Wands being the overall theme card. But I do think we see a high at the end of the month here, and it ends up being in October, or for August, relatively speaking, that ends up being like higher than wherever we are here on the 1st. And then we probably revisit the same high here around the 2nd, 3rd, and then again on the 8th, 9th. Who says the aliens haven't gotten me already? All right, my friends. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, where angel investors of the channel are donating 5% forward to one of these charities, 5% back to the channel. Thank you very much. And you guys spend that 90% left over out of love or reinvest, and the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel.